Hey guys, thanks for your patience. I've gone ahead and wrapped up the inspection. Let's go grab a seat in the kitchen so I can detail out what's causing the issue, what options are available, and what the groundwork solution is to stabilize your foundation. What most homeowners really appreciate is understanding why this is happening, and we have a short video that'll illustrate as well as use some of the terminology that I'll be using throughout, just kind of detailing out options as well as solutions. But this gives you a really good understanding of what I've come up with as well as the reasoning behind the settlement in your home. So let's start with this video. Now this is going way back before humans ever even built a home, but you can see over time that the most stable and compact area is this lower level. Now humans come in with the bulldozer, that's that fill soil, that's that top layer. That's generally what we're doing construction on. Now here's a good breakdown. Similar to a cake, as you get to the lower levels, it gets more dense, more compact. This area right here, the bedrock, is going to be referenced by engineers as load-bearing strata. Now, when a home is first built, excavators come out. We go ahead and install concrete footers, concrete foundation walls. You get your flooring put in, walls go up, more and more weight gets put onto this very unstable soil. Not all contractors are the greatest at compacting it prior to the installation, but nobody's as good as Mother Earth, so there's really nobody to blame. It's a living, breathing organism. Now, the backfilled soil, man-made soil, that is what's going to highlight that active area zone. So the active zone is what we're talking about. It's an issue that's compromised. It's simply not durable or strong enough to maintain the weight of the house over the long duration of time that it's already been installed. We said the build was what, 1999? So, over that amount of time, just weight and pressure, it's doing its thing. The soil's simply not stable enough to handle the weight anymore. My favorite movie is Shawshank. Time and pressure. Brooks was here, like literally just chipping away. So there's a variety of different settlement options. The one that you had brought up to me and what I've diagnosed your house as having is actually this next option right here, the differential settlement. And the reason why I diagnosed it as that is you do have some of the common symptoms, and that'll be shown on the next slide, which includes some of the cracks as well as gapping between your flooring and walls. So that's what it's getting diagnosed as. Now what we can do is stabilize the home, but that's down the road. So here is just showing the impact of weather. So during the dry season, that soil ends up shrinking, so that creates more gaps and voids. So it's loose, becoming more and more unstable. Now during the wet season, what happens is those cracks and voids get filled up with water. It's gonna go ahead and seep through every single little crevice. Now rather than shrinking, what this is doing is wettening and softening the soil. As that softens the soil, the weight of the home continues to seep farther and farther, creating more and more of the issues. So this is where landslides might happen. Houses begin to sink. Similar to a truck getting stuck in the mud, you just see the tires spinning and they're continuing to get deeper. So really it's the poorly compacted fill soil combined with Mother Nature. Like I said, you got the dry seasons, you got the wet seasons, and it's all wreaking havoc on the foundation of your home. So what is the solution? The solution is stabilizing your home by getting to that load-bearing strata. Now, what we have is in the past a few different options that homeowners have explored. Concrete piers, as well as steel concentric piers. Both are fairly similar, one being solid concrete, the other being solid concrete at its core, wrapped around in steel. Both will never make it to load-bearing strata or bedrock. Essentially, we want to get to the deepest portion of the soil to create stability for your home. We need to increase this stability. Can we all agree? That's at the crux of this entire issue, is the loose, unstable soil. Is that okay? Are we all in agreement on that one? Okay. So let's go ahead and weed this guy out. Now, some contractors think that underpinning the concrete may be a solution for you. Unfortunately, the solution that they're proposing is adding additional concrete to the footing. It's almost as if they are changing a high heel stiletto and swapping it out for a snowshoe, something massive. What they want to do is add additional concrete, thinking that that's going to help stabilize the home and prevent it from sinking. But all you're doing is adding a massive amount of additional weight. Concrete weighs anywhere from 100 to 150 pounds per cubic foot. Now imagine them putting thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds of concrete into an already sinking home on what we know softens during the rain and shrinks during the dry season. So is that something that you would consider? Would you ever throw an anchor to a sinking boat? Cool. All right, we're on the same page, right? Like, that's just crazy. But there's one other option that homeowners explore when they've removed those other options, and that would be a full foundation replacement. Now, don't be alarmed. You're not there yet. We still haven't gone through our solution, but some homeowners look at those two first options and say, look, neither one of those is going to get me to my desired result. So let's go ahead and start from scratch. Now, you can do that, but it's extremely expensive. It's very invasive, and you're not going to be in your home for months on end. Pretty much the standard protocol for curing concrete is 28 days. So referring back to the initial video of how a home is built, if you were to replace your foundation, you're starting off with the concrete footers. So go ahead and put those in. Let's wait 28 days for that to cure properly. Then you have to put down the foundation wall. Let's wait another 28 days after that. So at minimum, you're looking at about 2 months out of the home. Now that's assuming that the climate is absolutely perfect. We're avoiding any type of rain, any type of excess moisture to impact the curing. Now a contractor may try to shorten that window and say, no, it's no big deal. You can be back in the house in, say, a few weeks. On average, one single foundation wall is going to cost you about $40,000 in this neighborhood. Do you want your contractor taking any shortcuts when it comes to curing? Okay, awesome. So we're on the same page there. So no shortcuts taken, but also in addition to that, I saw the man cave down there. That entire basement is going to be completely ruined. You have to disconnect all your gas, all your utilities, all your electricity, you name it. You're pretty much gutting the entire surrounding of your home and rebuilding it from the bottom. So landscaping potentially is getting ruined. HVAC systems possibly need to get removed. So as you can see, the cost keeps spiraling out of control. So can we eliminate a full foundation replacement option? Great. Now let's go ahead and look at the groundwork solution. So what we would advise you to do is use our settle stop helical pier system, where simply we go ahead and excavate around the areas that need stabilization. We go ahead and prep the footing. We have our helical piers installed until we get to a depth of which we're hitting bedrock or load-bearing strata, completely stabilizing the home. Now, our engineers have put together a great example that'll detail out exactly what this looks like. And this may repeat some of the stuff we've talked about, so I'll be quiet now.
Stop operating properly. It can be scary, leaving you worried and wondering how to fix it. The problem is the active, unstable soil that supports your home. And many homes were built on soil that was not properly compacted at the time of construction. As this soil compacts and collapses, your home drops as well. Another major issue is the moisture content in the soil. When the soil becomes overly dry, it contracts and shrinks, creating voids. When the soil is overly saturated, it washes away or becomes too soft and can't support the weight of your home. To permanently stabilize your home, you must go beyond these active, unstable soils to bedrock, or what engineers call load-bearing strata. The settle-stop helical pier system is the answer. The system utilizes steel piers to support the home on strong soils deep below the surface. Here's how it works. First, soil is removed to expose the footing. Next, the footing is skillfully prepped for proper load transfer. The helical piers are then installed right next to the foundation and carefully monitored as they are advanced deep into the earth. And once our monitoring equipment tells us we've reached the necessary depths and capacities, a heavy-duty foundation bracket is connected to the piers and secured to the footing. The weight of your home is then transferred through the piers into competent soils deep underground to prevent future settlement of your home. Not only will your home be permanently stabilized, but there's also an opportunity to lift it back towards its original position. So, the piers rest on load-bearing strata and the home rests on the piers. And no longer is your home vulnerable to ever-changing soil conditions. It is now permanently stabilized. And to ensure your peace of mind, we back it with a fully transferable lifetime warranty.
So how does that sound?